We need to unite, but they have always been there to divide us, to be able to reign on us through slavery. Our ancestors experienced it, and until today, we have it fed up in our flesh, but it continues. Our great people were deported, tortured, and again when they had their war, we supported them.
This moment is a critical moment. We have a responsibility as the diaspora to seize it, to unite, and be prepared to pull our funds together so our Africa cannot be taken away from us. We owe it to our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. What is in Africa belongs to them. It is their inheritance, and we must defend it by any means necessary. Let's unite.
Brothers and sisters, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, has been going around to unite black people. Now, he has been making bold steps in ensuring that all black people come together and speak one language, the language of unity. Now, he has also been calling out France, the US, and all Western countries to the chaos they have caused to Africa. Now, in this speech, he calls out on all African diasporans to come back in Africa and invest. He's calling out on all black people to unite and speak the language of unity. So let's listen to this speech, then have a quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Paid us in monkey money.
Ils nous ont payé en monnaie de singe.
Others were killed when they tried to stake their claim. Several of them died in their village as a result of the war. Never recognized the work of the African. Our mission is first of all to awaken Africa and do better, so that you from the diaspora can make people understand what Africa is. When I see you, united in this association, I feel even more proud because that's all we are asking for today. Our fight is to be able to unite, because united we are strong, divide we are weak. They have always worked to divide us, so I urge you to spread the message so that Africa can unite. We have been lucky or unlucky enough to live through war for several years, and at some point, we had to say enough is enough, that we are fed up. We have taken our responsibilities and we realize today more than ever that we were right to take our responsibilities. Because these armies that were installed here were never able at any time to monitor our territory, to see the terrorists who came to kill us and leave with all the means they had when we asked them to leave. Today, we were able to acquire an array of means that allow us to wage our war and ward off the threat, and contain it. I would say, we were able to equip our forces and replenish our
They can only serve their master. And these people, each time they try to manipulate you, you must advise each other. Because each situation can be exploited by these enemies of the nation to try to discourage you, to demotivate you. So you must advise each other and do not pay attention to certain words, even on certain media. Everyone is not obliged to be a patriot. You are the first patriots. You have decided to defend the country. There is nothing better than that. Those who want to support you, let them support you. Those who want to discourage you through writing, you must close your ears and move forward.
Alors, il faut qu'on se rappelle quelque chose.
We must remember something. Recently, there was a so-called NGO. It is not even a NGO because a NGO is a non-governmental organization. But they are not non-governmental because they are financed by a federal budget, by a state. This so-called NGO produces reports to say that the FDS and the VDP are carrying out executions. They came in and left here. It is to stain your morale. It is to scare you, to prevent you from being able to fight. No. Besides, we will take this NGO into account. Because people must understand something.
Il faut que les gens comprennent quelque chose. Ce qui nous arrive ici,
what is happening to us here? It is true that they have manipulated a part of our population in the Sahel, but they did not have this armament. What led to this important armament? It is Libya. Who destroyed Libya? It is this NGO, the same NGO that made these false reports and gave to whoever wanted to create a rebellion for people to intervene and make Gaddafi fall. And the powder is spilled in the Sahel. These millions of lives that were taken in the Sahel, we must take into account this NGO, because it is responsible for these false reports that it made to consolidate this thesis of attacking Libya. They have no moral lessons to give us. Look at the world. Let them defend human rights everywhere in the world before coming here. We have the chance to have similar situations in this world. You are engaged voluntarily. There are countries where we take force, we kill. You leave or you die. Others, even if they want to flee, end up dying. They do not speak of human rights because these people see us as subhumans. They see us as slaves. It's like that in their heads. They have never changed their logic, but it is up to us to show them that we are not slaves, and we will never accept this state of affairs. So there is no need to let yourself be overwhelmed by the story they tell, whoever wants to hear it. You have to stay focused on your fight. Stay focused. We know what we are doing. And even now, the commander of BVDP told me that there is a training session on human rights for the benefit of group leaders and their subordinates, which is ongoing. If we make an effort, we know that it is for us. We do not do anything to please anyone. We do it for our country. And you are committed to that. Defend your country. Do not listen to these individuals. They should not affect your morale. In the history of the world, there have been wars. And during the Second World War, people organized themselves to defend themselves, a little bit everywhere. But there was a country that could not defend itself, that had to come and take our ancestors to go and defend them.
Et aujourd'hui, ce même pays veut nous donner des leçons.
And today, this same country wants to teach us the hospital that laughs at charity.
No. Vous êtes les descendants de ces mêmes ancêtres.
You are the descendants of these same ancestors who went to defend the others, who freed the world from Nazism. Today, you fight for your lands. These same individuals dare to create terms to dirty you. We oppose this. We will never agree. Continue to defend your lands. It is your wealth that interests these people. It is our gold, our minerals that interest them. If not, why come and look for entire villages to take our lands? So we will fight and we will recover our lands. Our wealth belongs to us. It is to us that it will benefit and to our children. So I encourage you to keep in mind that this war is to get us out of slavery. It is for our independence. And you must keep your morale high. Stay up. We will never give in to the manipulators, to these individuals who no longer know this notion of homeland, or to these people who come from the outside to try to tame us through their terms that they invented and their organisms that they invented to serve us. Fight. Move forward. Do everything you can. Dive, as I said, into your cultural resources, into what you have been forging since the village. Dive into it and wage this war. Stay focused and stay up. You are those people who dared to take up arms to support the different forces of defense and security, to fight to recover our lands. This does not apply to everyone. Everyone at his level can do what he can. Others are in business and contribute. Others try to communicate to encourage you. Others try to do what they can. But you have decided to take up arms and face them. We like to say that in times of war, there are two types of citizens. Those who wear uniforms called FDS, who must go towards death. It is their duty. And the civilians who must flee death because they are not trained for it. But in the history of peoples, there is always a moment when you find yourself confronted with your existence. Either you fight or you disappear. Today, Burkina faces its destiny. It is a question of existence. And at this crucial moment, among those civilians who must give water to death, you have decided to take up arms and face and support your brothers in arms. We cannot stop paying tribute to you. We cannot stop magnifying you. We cannot stop glorifying you. You are from Burkina Faso, and that is all we have asked. You have faced the enemy without knowing the enemy, without having the same capabilities as the security forces. But you have faced it. Many of you have paid for their lives, but you continue to resist. What can we do to improve your working conditions? That is combat. First of all, the FDS has existed for several years, but it was not equipped, especially the notion of individual weapons. I think that this problem is more or less solved. All those who are VDP in the villages today have weapons. Anyway, there are still many who want to join, I am sure. All the villagers might want to be VDP, but we will go step by step. Because we have also asked the civilians to contribute, as I told you earlier, up to a level that should allow you to take charge.
In Nigeria, I do not have internet at an institution that deals with security.
Something that we need to understand if, as Black people, if we are going to change our circumstances in the world. We are the most disrespected race by design. We were systematically brainwashed. We were systematically put in the state of mind that we are in. If you look at, let's take you back to Africa, prior to the children of Africa being taken out of Africa as slaves, and even after they were taken out of Africa as slaves, the instructions that the missionaries were given in terms of how to deal with African. Remember, when they came to Africa, they found very resistant people, very well-established religious, educational systems, people who were so strong that they didn't know how they could conquer Africa unless they addressed the issues of Africa from the core. So they set out a process of letting us believe that everything to do with Black and African was bad, and everything to do with white was better. White and European was better. We have to understand that the missionaries were given instructions on how to instruct us and how to control our minds. They were told to teach us how to read, but not to reason. It was a systematic process, specific instructions on how to handle a Black person in order to get them where they wanted us to be. They used the same process with the slaves on the plantations, where they began this process of divide and conquer, lighter-skinned people versus darker-skinned people, the straighter your nose versus the flatter your nose, thin lips versus thick lips. It was a process that we have been put through. We have been trained to self-hate. I use the example of religion, and I use an example of myself growing up in Zimbabwe. The British did not come to Zimbabwe until 1896. Prior to their coming, we did not know of white color or black color. We were Africans. We were Africans. But the missionaries came in and they told us about Christianity. They told us about Jesus Christ. They told us about the angels who were white and the devil who was black. Then they turn around and say, the angels are desirable. They do the wonderful things. We must aspire to be like them. And they said, oh, by the way, we may not look like this white sheet of paper. Besides, remember, they introduced the color white and the color black. We didn't have that. So we know how black looks like. We know how white looks like. But they turn around and say, the angels are white and we are white too. Never mind how we look. We may not look like this piece of paper, but believe we are white and we represent the angels. And you're black. You may not look like this cover of my phone, which is black, but you represent the devil. The devil is black. The devil is evil. We all must run away from the devil. You don't want to represent the devil. Oh, by the way, you may not look like this black piece of paper, but you're black too. Then now let's go to church. And we kneel down in front of the white angels, in front of white Jesus, who we know very well Jesus Christ was not white. Even their own Bible tells us he had crimson skin. We know for a fact that when Mary and Joseph were running away from King Herod, they were told to go to Egypt. Why? Because in Egypt, Jesus Christ would blend with those who would look more like him. If he was white, they would have told them to run to Europe. So we have all these obvious lies that we have been told. So for centuries, we have knelt and worshipped white Jesus and white angels and denied that which they told us represented us. So they systematically put us through a process of self-hate. It is not by surprise that we hate ourselves. We don't like each other. We don't trust each other. Understand that this has been a systematic process of criminalizing blackness, of teaching us and training us to hate everything that looks like us, and educating that the more we look closer to what white people do, the better off we are. So we spend the rest of our lives and the lives of our children and the lives of generations to come, if we do not do something about it, hating ourselves, teaching our children to hate ourselves. We are a sick people. Let's face it. We need healing. We have been so brainwashed to hate ourselves. We have been so brainwashed to the point that even the obvious lies, we hear them, we know their lies, but we can't get ourselves to unbelieve. I believe in Jesus Christ. What I have problems with is what they have done with the name of Jesus Christ. Abused his name, misrepresented his name. Religion, they have used it as an instrument to brainwash us. I believe in the religion. It is how it is taught to us and presented to us. It is distorted. It is no longer the truth that the Bible speaks of. But we know better. Because when we are lied to, we know it. Why do we find it so difficult to denounce those lies? The lies that Martin Luther King spoke about. We know we do some of the dumbest things. A black man opens a shop in a black neighborhood, and the minute a Chinaman opens a shop next door to them, we black people, we stop patronizing a black man and we run to the Chinaman. It's the case of the white man's ice is colder. How sick can we be? How dumb can we be? Even in the face of obvious truths, it's easier for us to believe a white man when they lie to us because the white man said so. The question is, how long will it take us to understand that those are lies that we have been told, that we have been programmed to hate ourselves? Understand your history. That will begin the process of healing. Understand what has been done to you. Understand that you're riding somebody else's train, going in somebody else's direction towards their own destination. Your train is in the next track. It should be going in the opposite direction. That is where your destiny is. Understand that you are the father of humanity. Understand, as a Black woman, you are the mother of humanity. You gave birth to the first human being. Understand that before they were, you were. So as the father and mother of humanity, why do you accept the lies? Why do you allow those you gave birth to, those whose sheer existence depends on you, to abuse you? Understand your history. Understand where you have been. Stand on the tallest mountain and let the world know the facts that they themselves have uncovered. They went to Europe, looking for the origins of humanity. They couldn't find it there. They went everywhere around the world looking for the origins of humanity. They couldn't find it until they came to our Africa. So stand on top of the tallest mountain and proclaim to the world who you are. But that starts with your understanding of your history. Let the world know that you're the beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible original person, original human being, the African. So yes, it was a long answer, but you needed to hear it from the beginning. It starts, it stays, and it ends with your understanding of your history. Know your history, know where you have been, and understand and accept first and foremost that we are a wounded people and we need healing. And that healing begins with one having a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Very passionately presented. I will say that if the color coding was intentional, and for that matter, it was also false, why do we continue to call ourselves Blacks and call others whites or yellow or whatever? Why don't we just stop using that categorization and simply call ourselves Africans?
Yeah.
I speak
to that. I speak to that all the time. Again, we're just accepting the blatant lies. My brother, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. I don't blend with my black hair. I don't blend with my black dress. So yes, those are lies. We need to undo them. So maybe there needs to be a movement that needs to start to say we are Africans and we refuse to be color-coded anymore, because that color coding, it goes to the core of who we are. Look at that little experiment they did on CNN with Anderson Cooper, with little girls being given white dolls and black dolls. Even black kids at that early age, they preferred the white doll. So it's deep. So yes, we can change it. We can begin by saying we're Africans, no more color, because that is, it was used to divide us. It was used to self-hate. So I agree with you. I think there should be a movement to refuse to be called Black and be called African. It's up to us to start that movement.
All right, thank you. I'm still going to stay with you on one more point before we are going to have a continuation of our interaction more informally. On the issue of the diaspora, what is the role of the diaspora to Africa's future, and vice versa, Africa's role in the diasporan future?
A very important question. The issue of brain drain goes to the core of who the diaspora are and what the diaspora mean to the continent. So to understand the diaspora and their significance in the history of Africa, to understand the diaspora in the history of us as Africans in the diaspora, you must understand the brain drain. The brain drain out of Africa started over 400 years ago, when the children of Africa were taken out of Africa as slaves. Remember, and I like to let everybody understand, descendants of the formerly enslaved, you are a product of what Africa, the best that Africa had. They took the best and the fittest out of Africa. They took the best that they felt could stand the long journey transatlantic. They took the best that they knew would survive on the plantations. So I want descendants of the formerly enslaved to know that don't you ever let anybody make you feel inferior. You are the cream de la cream of Africa. You are descendants of the cream de la cream of Africa. Stand up tall and let everybody know that. That brain started back then, followed by more recent immigrants who came in search of, who left Africa in search of greener pastures, running away from wars and famine. The end result is
Traore has always been calling on the sovereignty and self-reliance of Africa as a continent. Now, he has been advocating for this for his entire leadership. Now, he has been saying more often that Africa cannot be independent if we still rely to get grants and aid from the US, China, and all these countries. That Africa has the potential to produce, has the manpower to do all the things it is required to do. Now, you must remember that the US and the European Union could not have achieved the success they had if it were not for black people, that they had to use black people as slaves to be where they are today. And this is why most of the times when someone like Ibrahim Traore and Dr. Arikana Pilo Lumumba talk about black reparation, that black Americans should be reparated, it is because they worked for free. They were no wages. They worked under very harsh conditions. Some of them actually died in the process. They lost their lives. So many people died when they were moving slaves from Africa to the other side of the world. So many people died in the containers. So many people, others died in the fields working for the US, working for the white people. So this is the time when someone like Ibrahim Traore is talking about reparations and is talking about liberation of Africa. This is the time we as black people should support movements like this, because I feel like we left someone like Martin Luther King alone. We left someone like Malcolm X alone, and we've been leaving this Muammar Gaddafi on the other side until he was called a terrorist by the US and the European Union for advocating for whatever is right for Africa. In fact, Muammar Gaddafi was saying that the African children in the diaspora should come back, then Africa to be united as a one country, as a one large country, with a single president, with a single currency, with a single national language. And for these things that he was doing in his country, he chased all the colonizers. He chased France, he chased the US and destroyed their army bases. And it is for this reason they termed him as a terrorist. And he was doing good for his country. In fact, before his death, the Libyan currency was the strongest currency in Africa, and it was stronger than the US dollar. So for these reasons, they hated him, because the mineral resources in Libya were used to benefit the people of Libya. So when we as black people do not support such revolutionalist leaders, we can't support such pan-Africanists when we do not show our own love that the West can have them on the table and destroy them completely, get away with their life. This is why we need to protect our own people. We need to protect the sovereignty of this continent. We need to protect this so that our own brothers can come home. They have been in slavery for the longest time, 200, 300, 400 years. Some of them have been born, raised in oppression. They have been seeing this systematic racism happening for the longest time. Some of them, they were born, raised without parents. After parents were adopted and they were absorbed so much into whiteness. So we say this is the time we black people should consider uniting ourselves, coming together and having having unity. Let's stop the division that is happening. And this is why someone like Ibrahim Traore, when he said that we should promote pan-Africanism, Pan-African unity when he said that we black people should unite. The African continent is so much divided because we have 55 countries with 55 presidents, with a prime minister, with a king. But Africa is not united. People are talking different languages. We have so many sellouts in Africa. If you do something, someone will report you to Macron. Someone is going to say it to Donald Trump. If you have plans to unite Africa, some of the puppets in Africa will directly be summoned by the European Union or by the White House. Then this is why we say, if these puppets can't change, then we the people should change the leaderships in our own countries. Because if we have sellouts in Africa, those people who report directly to the White House, reportedly directly to the European Union, to Emmanuel Macron, this is why we have this continent torn apart. This is why we are calling our own brothers and sisters to come from the diaspora to come and live in Africa. But are we united yet? Are we united yet? And my question too to the diasporians, black diasporians, are you united? Because black people are not united wherever they are. That's the truth. And I don't fear to say this. If diasporians, black diasporians continue the same way, with the same division, that African Americans are not in good terms with the foundational black Americans, they're not in good terms with British Africans, they are not in good terms with British blacks, they are not in good terms with any other black person around the world. The same atrocities, the same problems that we've been facing, the same problems that Martin Luther King wanted black people out of, we will still see them. You will still cry for systematic racism. You are still going to cry for the oppression that is happening because you live in division, and that's when they thrive best. So I'm glad that we have someone who is championing for sheep and stability and trying to talk about black unity. This is Ibrahim Traore, and we support every other effort that he makes to see the African continent one and black people coming together and speaking truth to power. This is whatever we've been lacking, that we don't have someone who can stand in and talk truth. We have lacked someone who have the balls to come and address the atrocities that the US and France and the Western countries have done to Africa. If you go to Africa, someone was telling me that Africa is a war-torn zone, and I was telling them that I've lived in Africa and I've never seen, in fact, I've never experienced war in Africa since I was born, and I'm 24 turning 25. So this is why we actually say that Africa should be liberated. France has been causing chaos, and the US in Congo, they are sponsoring other countries and M23. If someone lacks food, where do they get the money to purchase AK-24? You know how expensive it is. It is around $20,000. So if someone cannot have food, how are they able to purchase AK-27, AK-24, AK-20, 25 mean AK-27? If a person has no food, this is whatever is happening in the DRC. But we have puppet leaders who can't come out and call out the US and France for whatever they are doing, just because of a conflict of interest. They want people in the DRC to be displaced. They want people to be surviving in chaos so that they can't concentrate on the exploitation of their mineral resources. And that's why any leader who is elected in DRC, when they come out to oppose whatever is happening in their own country, they get removed and the opposition is being given powers. The opposition is being funded to cause mayhem and chaos, then elections, then change of leadership. This is how Africa has been working, some countries, but Africa is very stable. I've never seen war in my country. I've never seen war in my neighbors' countries. I just hear them on CNN and BBC. I've never seen any. So this is the time we should call out France. We should call out the US for the chaos that have happened in Africa. We say enough is enough, and we want to be liberated. We want our black brothers coming back to invest in our very well stable and peaceful continent. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. If it's your first time, please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, and commenting on this video. Thank you so much.